Hello everybody, this is your student Facebook meteorologist Sean Bagden here, and we're live to give you the third day's forecast discussion for Grand Rapids, Michigan for the National Weather Challenge. So far, our results for day 2 as of 22Z are in, and our high temperature looks to be hanging out at 62 degrees. Our low temperature will be at 50. That looks like it may go lower by 6Z tonight. Wind speed should be upgraded up to 24 knots, as there was a 24 knot sustained wind reported there in the middle of the day during a brief thunder shower. And our precipitation looks like it's going to be ending at about 0.52. That would end up giving us about 2 error points for the high temperature, 0 error points for the minimum temperature, 0 error points for the wind temperature, or the wind speed, and about 1.5 points for precipitation error. So that's a total of 3.5 points. Not a bad day, putting us second in the school and likely in the top 400 plus here for the national ranking. Out of, I believe it's around 800 students are playing, up 226 spots so far from yesterday. So, on with the forecast. Well, actually, currently, we can see right here, this is our shortwave impulse that dove south out of Canada yesterday and brought us some showers and thunderstorms across most of Michigan and the upper Midwest today. Also, you can see with that added instability from the cold air getting pushed in aloft, we have some lake effect coming in here off of Lake Erie, and even some scattered lake effect showers coming off these other Great Lakes like Huron and Michigan. I believe these two are. So we're going to zoom this out to the national view. Our last view. Oh, we're going to have to fix this up for you guys here really quickly. Hold on. We're going to take off all of those nasty looking station ID plots. There we go. That looks a lot better. And we're going to pop this on over to the last visible images of the day. And we can clearly see the cold air coming in behind this system right here, with these altocumulus clouds starting to develop back here on 850 millibar temperatures that are well below freezing back into the International Falls area, that are going to be pushing into Michigan overnight and into the day tomorrow, keeping temperatures on the cold side aloft, but looks like we'll be remaining about the same temperatures at the surface, meaning continued instability and afternoon thunderstorms will be of high likelihood throughout the next few days here as this northwesterly flow regime continues across Michigan here. Now we're going to head over to our low-level water vapor imagery in order to see any impulses that may be moving through the flow that could interfere with our forecast here. And it's very hard to see much of anything. It looks like we may have a little shortwave impulse moving through here on the flow aloft, but it's kind of hard to tell. May have to zoom out a little bit more even to see the full scope of that. Yep, looks like right here you can see a little bit of cyclonic rotation here, cyclonic vorticity. This is going to be another one of those clipper systems that's going to dive south out of, I believe this is Alberta right here, and head into the Great Lakes region, which should be affecting our Michigan weather tomorrow, giving us some forcing with that cold air aloft to create some shower and thunderstorm activity. That would be my best guess, especially with these just lobes of shortwave troughs that just keep rotating around this broad area of upper level low pressure here. So we're going to start out with what we find easiest when it comes to forecasting right here, and that's going to be our low temperature. Low temperature is what we are generally pretty good with forecasting here, and we're going to assume it's not going to drop much overnight tonight, even though we have this area of colder temperatures aloft. I'd imagine we stay relatively steady, just given that increased moisture and water vapor, meaning increased cloud cover that we're going to be having throughout the night tonight across Michigan. So we're going to probably be remaining on the higher side of guidance here, depending on what our current conditions are compared to what model guidance is showing. We're going to look at 21Z and compare what actually happened at 21Z to what models are saying. We're going to go to KGRR. That's Grand Rapids, for those that don't know. And here we go. We're going to head on down to 21Z. We got it. Yep, we're on 21Z. There we go. Perfect. This isn't even Z time, I don't believe. Huh. This is very interesting. Oh, there we go. 21Z. There it is. That looks more reasonable. So we're looking at a temperature of 52 degrees Fahrenheit with a dew point of 48. So 52 over 48. And holy cow, we are significantly off here when it comes to our temperature and dew point. Way too warm, and again, way too humid here, so we may actually go below guidance here when it comes to our low temperature and above guidance for our high temperature. Now that we've gotten burned on that 2 days in a row, did a little bit better today. Let's see if the HER here does a little bit better. Here we go. 21Z again. Because the NAM really did not do well with that at all. KGRR. Yeah, that was one of the worst performances I've seen from current conditions from the NAM in a good while. And again, here we go again with this yikes. Temperature way too high, dew point again pretty high here. What were we at? We were at 21Z. We have 48, 52. Let's bring this up to where we are now at 23Z. Maybe that'll help us out a little bit more. We'll refresh the page. Okay, we're still at 22 or 52 over 48. 52 over 48 here. Here we go, 23, 52 over 48. That looks a little bit more reasonable. Dew point is right about where I'd want it to be. And temperature is just about 3 degrees warmer than it currently is, likely due to more concentrated shower activity than we were expecting before. So we're going to knock a few degrees off our temperatures here, just given that it is coming in a little hot here, no pun intended. So we're gonna hop on through here and give our best shot at a forecast on the HRR for our low temperature here coming into the day, the morning tomorrow. Okay, and here is our 6Z. I'm definitely a little bit nervous about that. Very interesting. Looks like we bottom out right around 49 according to this. Wow, down to 47. That is not surprising, actually. Given that slackening in the low-level flow, we may even see this drop down to 43. That wouldn't be surprising to me at all, to see this go down to 43, especially if we're seeing dew points drop, because it looks like it wants to make it saturated tonight with some low-level fog. Let's go to SPC actually here real quick, and we'll see what kind of air mass is advecting into the region. If we're seeing any chance that these dew points could go down into the low 40s, I think we're going to have to bite on this really quickly right here. Here comes our surface observations, and wow, look at that. We definitely have some dry air pushing in here. A lot of low 40s to high 30s dews, and expecting that moderates a bit over the lake. I'd expect some definitely low mid to low 40 dews coming in here. So that would be right around what our low temperature is going to be. Very interesting. Let's see what this does through time here. We'll bring up our dew point, temp wind and dew point chart right here. And again, this is modeling them a little bit too high right now. Actually, this is doing pretty well. The trend graphic really isn't working out too well for us right here. Just to make sure we're looking at the right thing, dew point temperature is right there. Okay, perfect. Then we'll take this shading off there. Looks like we do have our temperatures and dew points hanging out still 6 hours from now, going into, what is that? That looks like the upper 40s. I find that very hard to believe. But it is a possibility, just given that the lake is there. I do have a little issue forecasting dew points with the lake being right there. Looks like dew point, oh, that goes down, oops, hold on. Okay, that's a 48 dew, 48, 48, 44, there is some 44s there, but does look like there's a convergence zone kind of sitting over there, so we may actually hang out with a, let's have a look at the NAM. I'm kind of indecisive when it comes to this low temperature right here, just because it looks like everything is showing that, oh, it brings it down to 47. That's interesting. You could see the temperature drop down to 47 here in the morning, just with that dew point temperature dropping like it is. That's very interesting. Nope, we want the 18Z right here. Okay, sorry about this, guys. Let's see if the HRR again drops that dew point down to around 47. Yep, there it is right there. Oh, it drops it down to 46. Interesting. Whatever this goes down to on dew point, I might bite on it. Probably go 46. 46 is probably the way to go here. Yeah, 46. That does seem reasonable. And then it begins to rise up after that. And it doesn't seem to... Oh, it does drop a little bit. It gets that drop there in the morning hours, right around sunrise. Ooh, that is a really tough forecast right there. Does it go down to 44? This is at 13Z. Okay, yeah, that's late enough to not have to worry about that. So we'll go low 46 here, but we will look at the end of the forecast period just in case. Yep, that's exactly why. Temperatures just bottoming out here at the end of the forecast period. And we're going to tend to go lower than what these have right here, especially with this cold air advection coming in aloft from the northwest and slackening of the winds near the surface. And do we have that dry? Yep, we've got dry, clear skies aloft. If we can get these decoupling winds at the surface here like it has, definitely would be a little bit colder than we have here. And Michigan very commonly decreases in temperature much quicker than other areas, especially when we're talking around here. With these 850 temps dropping below freezing like this, low of 41 is certainly within the realm of possibility here. I even think we may drop a little lower than what that's showing. We'll have to have a look at the NAM here in a brief second. But I would initially say 38 degrees for a low, given what I'm seeing here. With that dry air and that it's perfect for radiational cooling. No, there's not going to be any cloud cover and very weak surface winds. You can see our photograph right here, almost zero at the 0 kilometer level here. And again, NAM drops it down to around 40 degrees with that dew point around 38. Yeah, I could easily see this temperature getting down to 38 degrees here tomorrow morning. So, yeah, I think we're going to go with that low temperature of 38 degrees in the morning, at least for an initial forecast low in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Next up, we're going to go with our high temperature, which is going to be a little more tricky. Temperatures, I believe, what was it? It was 3 degrees too warm they were. So we're going to go probably around 3 degrees too low from what models are showing. Just because of that, and there's just going to be a lot of cloud cover in place because of this just lobe of unsettled weather, we'll call it. That's just constantly pivoting around this area of upper level low pressure here. And that cold air aloft is not going to allow it to warm up very quickly. I stand by that. But 52, 53, I do think it's going to warm up a little bit more than that. I may just stick with that 52, 53, and then it drops out. This is tough. This is a tough temperature forecast. Then you have deep convection that could be occurring especially in the morning is when it starts dropping off here. So if we're seeing this drop off in the morning, I don't think we'd see temperatures rising up all that much. Although I think it's going to be a little more than 2 degrees off of what we do this morning. I'll be very interesting to see what happens here. I may initially go 50 degrees, but let's have a look at the HER. That was a little more, was a little better off here, we'll call it. So we have, what time is this? 13Z, 50 degrees, 14, 52, 15, 54, 54. So probably gets up to about 55 on this. I'm more inclined to take 3 degrees off of the HER right now just because, yikes. I don't want to go 50 degrees because I don't think it's going to warm up just 2 degrees through the day. I think I'm going to go with a number around 52 tomorrow. It's very interesting. I'll have to look into this more after I'm done with this stream here, but we're going to start off with this high temperature of around 52 degrees here. Although we have been burned by sun before, we'll have to look at our odds of seeing sunshine later on. But next up, we're going to go with what we find very easy here, and this is forecasting wind speed. The NAM is generally pretty good about forecasting this. It's been spot on the past few days for us. We just let it burn us. So here we go. We're going to look at our equilibrium level up here. That's where your mix layer is. And it looks like we've got 35, I'd say 30 knot winds that could get transferred down to the surface. This is likely to deepen through the afternoon. There we go, still around 30 knots aloft. And remember, we're going to be using our rule of 60% here. Upper level winds then weaken down to 25 into the afternoon hours. I actually don't think we get that windy. What a surprise. Very weak upper level flow here. Wow, I might even be a little nervous going for anything. Wow, okay. Interesting. I think we're going to take 25% of, what, 20 knots? That seems incredible. Now, right here, this is what we'll do. We'll take 25% or 60% of, yeah, looks like 25 knots. Okay, what's that? 25 knots times 0.6 is 15 knots. That sounds pretty reasonable, although I may drop it even lower to 20 because 25 really is not a common value through this column right here. That'll be interesting. We may drop that to as low as 13, but we're going to stay with 15 for the purposes of this live stream right now. And precipitation, this is where things are going to get a little bit interesting, we'll call it. So here's what we're looking at for the day tomorrow. I'm guessing it's going to be scattered convection once again, so we're going to have to see where those lake effect convergence bands decide to set up through the afternoon hours tomorrow as that cold air really starts to set in. It looks like, yet again, we have this area right around Grand Rapids that sets up as a convergent boundary. Question is, do we get showers and thunderstorms popping up right over the airport like they did today? That is the big question here. Let's see if we have any significant amounts of forcing in the form of frontogenesis here. Boom. Looks like a little bit of a cold front that sags south. There is a bit of a forcing mechanism right there, that is for sure. That kind of lags back just over northern Michigan that could lead to convergence developing in the afternoon hours across the Grand Rapids area. So we'll have to keep that in mind here. Let's look at forecasted rainfall totals through 6Z. There we go, on Friday. Total accumulated QPF here, and there you go. Grand Rapids is right about in there, and it has that convergent boundary that we've seen the past few days on models, right over the Grand Rapids area or just to the south of it. Widespread like 0.4 inch amounts, and then some areas could get a little bit over an inch if you're sitting right under a thunderstorm there. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on that. Let's see what the NAM's showing. NAM's showing pretty much the same exact thing as everything else. Wow. Definitely a convection allowing model here with the NAM 3K showing 2.5 inches of rain with these thunderstorms. Again, very dry air mass in place across Michigan with this northwesterly flow, so I don't think anything is going to be dropping an inch, 2 inches plus of rain here. And then I'm on the live stream. We'll be right back with you guys in a quick second while we deal with that background noise. Okay, so here we go. We're going to look at the GFS forecast right here for precipitation. See if this continues to show us more of a broad view of what's going to be happening. And again, it's going very high, 0.93. I think that is a little bit extreme for the Grand Rapids area. And then finally, we'll look at the Canadian here, which looks the most realistic of them all, showing a little under a half inch of rain. But still, looking at the NAM, it's very spotty. It's going to be 0 or it's going to be a lot like the models are showing. So we'll have to look at model averages over here on Brian Tang's website for the weather challenge here. So we're going to go to 18Z precipitation here. And GFS and NAM have consistently been hanging out right around that 0.3 inch mark. So we'll probably go persistence forecast for tomorrow. Probably going about 0.35 because everything's showing that we're getting rain here. And I'd be pretty confident in that given the given that area of convergence that likes to set up right around the airport the last few days. So I think 0.35 seems like pretty reasonable. It's right around the average of the model consensus right here. So we're going to go 0.35 for precipitation in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Let's go through and confirm our thinking on our high and low temperatures right now. This is for the day on the 1st of October, and as you can see, we have two camps here for our low temperatures. High temperatures look a little bit more certain. So right now we have our forecasted high temperature right around 52 degrees, which models would tend to agree with. It's right at the split. Some have it going to 54, some have it going down to as low as 50. So I'm pretty comfortable going with a high of 52. I don't think we see it go as low as 50 here. That seems most reasonable to me to go 52. Then looking at low temperature, low going down to 38. Low of 38 does look within the realm of possibility given what the models are showing right now after that cold frontal passage drops through. Looks like the GFS has a good handle on that really quick drop in temperatures as the dry air pushes in aloft and clear skies prevail. Likely seeing a rapid drop in temperatures, and there's really not going to be a bottom to it. The only bottom to it is going to be where the dew point stops dropping, and it's just going to be continuously dropping through the night here. And GFS shows temperatures dropping even to as low as 36. But I think 38 is pretty reasonable just in case we do have that chance of moisture lingering around in the low levels, which does tend to happen around these Great Lakes here, which in that case we'd see more of a NAM trend with the temperatures staying around the low 40s. So I think 38 is pretty reasonable here. And yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. And then wind, we're generally pretty good with the wind. Again, 15 knots is what we're going, and it looks like I don't even know how to say that word, the stochastic, we'll call it stochastic, wind speed is right around where we forecasted our 15 knots. So that is also looking pretty reasonable for us right now. Again, we may drop that down to as low as 13, but given the high bias on the winds the past few days, we'll likely stay on the high end of our thinking here. So that's the end of our live stream for tonight. Leave questions and comments below, and be sure to share this on Facebook with everybody else that is doing the National Weather Challenge as well. Have a good afternoon, everybody.